This is Jim Mann with Homestyle Southern Cooking. Thanks for having me back into your house today. I know where you're living a lot of places right now, especially I'm from Virginia. The tomatoes are getting ready to come in, and we have Hanover tomatoes there, some of the best tomatoes in the world. And I used to, growing up, my mother used to fix us tomato sandwiches, so I love tomatoes. My grandmother always was canning, and so was my mother. So they always were canning tomatoes, and they never called them canning tomatoes. They were putting them away. I put away 6 quarts, or I put away 5 pints for the year. So tomatoes have always been one of my favorite things. One of the things my grandmother used to make a lot in the summertime were tomato pies. So today we're going to make a tomato pie. So this is an old recipe, and it's really good, and I hope you'll try it. Earlier, I made a pie crust, and I don't know whether you can see all those little indentions in the bottom. If you don't put something to hold the pie down, I had to bake this for like 10 minutes just to sort of set it up. In the olden days, they would take clay. These are just clay, and you can still buy these. And you do very much like I have in this plate. You put them right in the bottom of your pie shell, and it keeps your pie shell from rising up, okay, if you put those in there. If you don't have those, if you have another pie plate, and your crust comes over it, you can put another pie plate in there. But anyhow, that's what the little indentations are for. What I'm going to start off with this is I've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and I'm just going to slightly sprinkle, I mean a very little bit in the bottom. That was very little Parmesan cheese. I've got that in there. And then I'm going to start laying my tomatoes. Now, my tomatoes have been sitting here for at least an hour on paper towels. Why? Because tomatoes are very wet inside, and I've been blotting them down. And we don't want all that wet juice in our pie. So they're very dry, and they're pretty thick slices. You can see they're pretty thick slices. So I'm going to take these, and I probably have way more than I need. And I'm going to start putting my tomatoes right here in here. And I've got a mixture of regular big tomatoes and romaine tomatoes. I've got a combination of the two, so I'm going to put one on top of the other one. Now, some people have purple tomatoes and some people have yellow tomatoes. If you want to make this really colorful and you have different colored tomatoes in your garden, then you can do that. You can use different colors tomatoes in here. That's all I'm going to use right now. I'll take these other and I'll make me my favorite tomato sandwich later on. It's nothing better to me than a tomato sandwich. I love them. But anyhow, I've got those in my pie shell. I'm going to set those aside for a second. Now I've got my bowl. Before I get my bowl, I've got about 3/4 a cup of bacon that I cooked this morning. I cooked some extra. I'm going to sprinkle this bacon. I might even lift a piece or two of tomato, put it underneath of it. I'm going to just put this bacon all over my tomato pie. Okay. Now, this is something my grandmother or my mother never did. They never put the bacon in there. It was always just the tomato pie. I like it with the bacon because it tastes like a BLT. Okay, saying that, I've got 1/2 cup of mayonnaise that I'm going to put in here. I got my 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. I've got 1/2 cup of chopped onions. Put those in there. I had fresh basil in the garden, so I cut some fresh basil and I chopped it up. Now you can put as much or as little basil as you like, because basil is strong, but basil really enhances the flavor of the tomato. So I would suggest that you put some basil in there. You could also, if you wanted to do this, if you didn't want to put bacon here, you could use pepperoni, or you could even put spinach in here if you wanted to spice it up. But I like to keep it pretty simple. Next to that, I've got 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. And then I've got 1 cup of mixed cheese. This is sharp cheese, all different kind of cheeses. This is a cheese blend. Now I'm going to mix this all up together with my mayonnaise and this is a great pie. It's good for breakfast. If you want to fix this and Fix some fried eggs or scrambled eggs alongside this, or it's great for dinner. Fix this for dinner and fix a tossed salad along with it as you're making it, okay? Okay. But I remember them, my mother and my grandmother making these, and they would have them, and both my grandfathers and my father both loved the tomato pie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cheese, and I'm going to start spreading it on top of my tomatoes. And I want to get down in all the little crevices and the holes here. I'm going to spread it all over the top of my tomatoes. And like I said, I baked my crust for about, that's why the pie pan's still a little hot, about 15 minutes. So it's been baked just a little bit. It's not completely baked, because this will cook about 35 minutes or 40 minutes in the stove. So I want to make sure the crust is good and done on it. I might not use all of this. Okay. Put one more little dab over here. Okay, now my tomato pie is finished. It's that quick. It was that easy to do. So I'm going to take it now and I'm going to put it back in my oven at 350 for about 35 or 40 minutes. And then we'll come back and I'll show you our tomato pie. My tomato pie has been in the oven for 40 minutes, like I said, at 350. And the alarm just went off, so I'm going to get it out now. Oh my goodness. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's what's going to be for my dinner tonight. It's hot right now, so it's got to cool down some, but simple recipe. You see, we just chopped up tomatoes, mixed a little cheese and mayonnaise. You don't have to put the bacon in there. It's a simple recipe. The cake, as far as the pie recipe, I gave you the pie recipe in one of the recipes further back. It's the simplest pie recipe. You cannot mess it up. You cannot fail with this pie recipe. It's 3 cups of flour, 2 sticks of softened butter, and 1 cup of carnation evaporated milk. Mix together, put it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, and roll it out. You cannot mess that dough up. It's incredible. It's incredible. I hope you'll try this tomato pie. It's the time of year that people will be eating tomatoes. Thank you for following me on Facebook and subscribing to me on YouTube. I so enjoyed bringing this to you. It brought back so many memories, and I was telling somebody earlier, I love doing these with you because it reminds me of so many things I've forgotten. I've forgotten about my grandmother saying, I'm going to put away 5 pints of tomatoes, because I always think about you, I'm going to can tomatoes. So in doing these, it brings back some wonderful memories to me, and I love sharing them with you. Till next time, you're my family, you're my friends. I really care about you. I hope you'll try this. You take care of yourself. God bless.